Kevin Sidebottom here, speaker, author, and trainer. And I go around the country and I teach sales organizations and leadership teams on how to grow influence and trust with their teams and their customers to grow profits and make more sales. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do in business, is grow. Today, let's talk about how you grow trust as a new leader. Maybe you're a new leader in your business organization, or you've been there and you've been promoted to a new team and you have new people around you. What can you do to grow your trust with them? Well, we're going to talk about 3 questions in this video that you got to answer every interaction and how you can actually make sure that you're successful in that. We're going to talk about what we need to be doing for our teams regularly, if not annual, more often. And then I'm going to give you one last thing that will help make you an overachiever overnight. Okay? So let's get into it. The 3 questions we have to be answering on every interaction are, do I like you? Do I trust you? How can you help me? That's right. It's just been with us since the beginning of time. We needed to know that we can like and trust people and that they can help us achieve what we need to do. Whether it was coming out of the cave to kill an animal or today in business, how we can grow. Customers are asking that question of us, so are our team members asking of the leaders. So we need to constantly be adding this to our conversations. How are we answering those 3 questions? Now here's the key. You only have about 7 seconds to actually answer these questions because they're in the back of our mind and we don't even ask those like when we're meeting with the people. It's just going on back here in the back of our minds and we don't have to even think about it because it's a behavior. Okay? So as a leader, especially a new leader, we need to be up here being intentionally that we're answering those questions. Now, in sales, I always tell people, hey, have a CRM set up, customer relationship management tool, that you're learning about your customers all the time. Well, as a leader, we need to be doing that about our teams. So if you have Salesforce or something out there that you can do electronically, have everybody in the organization go fill it out. Now, a lot of organizations have profiles, but if you have a Salesforce CRM, hey, have them go put in their information, their family, how long they've been married, their kids, all that information, not to leverage them or make business decisions about who to fire and whatnot, but to actually care about them and learn about your people. See, Ramsey's solution has a fantastic culture, and it's because they all care about each other. Well, that's what everybody really wants, is to know that the organization's got their backs and actually cares about them. So if we're intentional every interaction to answer those 3 questions, and we're learning something new about the people that we can add to our CRM, well, isn't that going to grow the relationship? Yes, it's going to grow trust. Now, be cognizant on the areas that you're in, whether it's a high traffic area or if it's noisy when you're meeting with people. Try to make it as quiet as possible because this can hinder your likability because of being distracted. And if there's loud noises, people actually get defensive and it can interfere. The second thing we have to do is focus on the trust. Well, there's a lot that goes into that. In my trustworthy training that I do, we actually can learn about all the different colors, how the scents affect everything, and how we can be intentional to grow the trust. So we definitely need to be going through that, and I have a trust equation that I created to help you go through that and build influence and trust with people. But we got to have trust if we're going to move forward with people. And the third thing we got to answer is, well, how are we meeting their needs? How can we help them? Because that's what they're trying to find out with us. They're analyzing us as a leader, especially a new leader. What are you going to do to help me grow? That takes us into the next point. What is it that you're doing to add value? And I always say at least once a year, we need to be adding some kind of training to the team. And I know the organizations pump out lots of trainings, but what's a new skill your team needs to have that's going to benefit them exclusively? Well, you got to go figure that out. Understand everybody's needs and what your team's trying to do. If it's a program management team, well, are they all PMP certified? If it's a sales team, what sales training could you take to help benefit them and restructure your process if it needs to be done? So I often recommend one training a year from somebody from outside your team to come in and work with your team to help you. And then I also recommend, whether it's like a half day or full day, to keep the people over to go through and do a debrief. And here's why. The top elite people like Navy SEALs go through mission debriefs, and every time they're practicing for a mission, they'll come back and debrief to see where they got hung up to make them more effective. We need to be doing that as a team as well. We need to know what we've done wrong, what we did good, how can we improve constantly. And when we have those discussions, and yes, there's going to be some disagreements, but as we have these discussions and learn about everybody, guess what happens? The bonds grow. Just like harvesting, you have to go and till up the ground. You have to plant your seeds. You have to water and fertilize. You have to pull out weeds. Sometimes on your teams, you have to get rid of some people that are toxic. It's unfortunate, but we have to help them find a place that they will belong and a team that's going to help them grow. And then eventually you can harvest. By investing in the teams, well, we all grow and we're all successful and we move forward. The other thing I often recommend is do a book at least once a quarter. And I know it seems difficult, but I've been reading about 12 books a year for the last decade. And that's basically from one simple principle. Read 10 pages a day. Literally, you can do 10 pages a day in a month and read a 300-page book in a month. It's simple. Now, in business, when you're starting out, I don't recommend everybody reading a book a month. Maybe do it once a quarter with the teams of something that's going to add value to your teams to learn a new skill, supplementary to the one training a year. But we need to make sure that we're adding value. And, in our meetings, our weekly meetings, let's have a discussion for 5, maybe 10 minutes tops of what we've learned. Someone can interject something that they had questions about, and we can have a discussion and then move on to our topics. But by adding value consistently, we'll build trust with our team. Here's the third thing I often recommend to leaders. Far too many times, organizations and leaders forecast this great grand plan and say, we're going to hit it by this date. And they miss it. Yep, I know you've done it. I've done it. It happens. What I've learned when I was my past experience in program management and project management was to take time, figure out what our timeline is, and you put in some float days. Yeah, that's right. We bake in some extra time. Not to be ultra conservative to where we never commit to any dates, but we have to put in some actionable dates and put in a little bit of float. Because if we hit that date, great, we've achieved what we said we're going to do. But if you actually hit the date that you were actually planning on, well, guess what? Overachiever. That's right. We're an overachiever if we hit the earlier date. And then everybody looks at us and goes, wow, you're a rock star. Instantly, overnight. So think about that whenever you're making plans for things to go on, is to give a little bit of float days into whenever you're going to hit a certain goal to make sure that you're successful. Okay? If you like this video, please like it and share it. Give it out to other people that it might value. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I've got a lot of information down below on how to get a hold of me. But that's it for now, and I look forward to seeing you next time.